Good afternoon and thanks for joining us right here on Monday.
Don't bring us back.
No. Good afternoon, thanks for joining us right here on Midday, not Monday, Kentucky. That's what I was...
We are pre-Friday.
No, because I will say to you, I was thinking as I was saying it, oh, it's Friday Eve, I better say Friday Eve. I just want you all to know at home, I'm sure most of you know how TV works. We have a teleprompter in front of us. So we have scripts that we use as guide points, or sometimes we read them. But as we're reading, we're also thinking of what's coming up and what we're about to say.
Sometimes words come out completely ridiculously wrong, and people will call in and they're like, doesn't she know how to say that?
Oh, no,
doesn't he know that? Or you're like, we know how to say the.
Yeah, but it normally happens
It just
with
came
me.
out a different way.
But I just say, Miss Amber, it was my accent. I got tongue-tied.
Ooh, you can use that.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's funny.
I
just want to tell you this. There was a news story from Australia, and CBS just bought one of our TV stations in Australia, and they were saying, and if you ever watched Australian TV, they don't sound like me. They're very Australian. And I don't, even when I hear them now, I'm like, oh.
Well, do you feel like you lost your accent a little bit when you moved
No,
to the
everyone
States?
says that I've got quite a strong accent.
Well,
but
Americans.
I don't sound, no, they say I have an Australian accent, but I don't sound like the Aussie TV people, which is quite interesting. So CBS, there was a story saying CBS America is asking the main hosts of this Channel 10 studio to have elocution lessons.
To tone it
and
down a
voice
little.
coaching. But it's not going to work because those hosts were up in arms.
Were they?
Yeah, they were. A lot of people say, even back home in Australia, that I sound South African or, I don't have that
softer.
Australian,
Not that I'm an expert,
Yeah.
but I feel like a lot of people that come from either, whether it's the UK or Australia or South Africa, once they live in the States for a few years, I have a friend whose mom used to yell at them because they said, you don't even sound English anymore.
Well, yeah, and I have a couple of friends in New York that we all have been here for the same amount of time. They work in a different type of field, but they have such a strong accent now. And I tell them, I said, I'm sick of talking to you because I think it's fake,
You're slighting your people.
Yes, but I think when you're younger and you grow up here, like I have some friends that grew up here, they have an American accent.
Really?
And when I say grew up, probably till they were about 12.
Oh, yeah.
But my friends who moved here at the same age as I and have been here for the same amount of time have an American accent, and I just think it's a load of hogwash.
So you think they're faking it?
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Hopefully they're not watching.
I have the terminologies right now, like gas. I still say paddock and things like that. I say car yard, you say car, where you buy cars.
What do you car dealership?
Car dealership. We say car yard. Off to the car yard to buy a car.
That has more of a ring to it.
Yeah. Well, it's a yard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Or a parking lot. Wait, is there grass or is it in the?
Well,
do you
that's
have
a paddock.
concrete?
Yeah. It's a paddock. If you want to go, like we said, my father would say, being a horse gal, hey, go to the top paddock and bring down the brood mares.
We say that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not you wouldn't say that all the time, but there are paddocks. But let's go back to this car. Is there cars for sale on like a concrete parking lot?
Of course.
Well, a yard is for us would have like grass.
Yeah. We call that a
which
backyard.
It would make sense.
So the backyard, you call it a backyard, don't you? Yeah. Same thing.
Just
anyway.
a little lesson.
Yeah. You ready for this? I thought this was hysterical. If you love beards and mermaids, then you're going to flip out. The Newfoundland and Labrador beard. Are you ready for this? Let me just say that again, because it's a lot. The Newfoundland and Labrador Beard and Moustache Club. This is why I thought it was hysterical. Okay, made a bearded mermen calendar for a second year in a row. Now, the funds go to an organisation that tries to help reduce violence against vulnerable populations in communities like women, children and disabled people. Last year, the group raised almost $250,000. What do you think of this?
This is a win-win situation all around, right?
Yeah, the guys of all shapes and sizes.
It's amazing.
Look, I think it's hysterical. What do you think, Dee? You're in.
Would you buy this?
Yeah, these are cameraman.
It's for a good cause.
He's gonna model for it next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You would rock this. Like that look right there is what we want for you, Dee. We'll change the background though.
Yeah.
To make it your own.
I like it. I think it's fun.
It's so good. And what good sports they are to do this. You know they practice.
Do you think it's on a green screen? Or they actually went to these places?
I don't know. Well, if they're raising money for charity, I doubt they would spend that much money on travel
Yeah, it's
and
probably green
production.
screen. All right, here's another quick one for you. Can you guess what the highest rated TripAdvisor attraction in Bude, England is? This plastic tube people travel far and wide to visit. It's being compared, look, I'm sorry. It's being compared to Taj Mahal and the Sistine Chapel. The tunnel is actually just an undercover walkway for nearby stores, customers in bad weather. Amber, you sent this in. What are you sending in?
This makes me question humanity a little bit. Are we that easily amused, or is there just nothing cooler in that
Obviously.
town? Maybe the town's just really, really bland.
Well, I will say to you, it's a clever idea.
Yeah, well, it's a walkway. It's a tunnel to walk.
So can I say, I actually didn't read this story before coming to air. I thought it was underground.
Did you?
Yeah.
So would you go to the
No,
city just to see them?
I can't even believe we're showing it on TV. Let's move on. Okay, talking about how much you make at work is something that's considered taboo, right? However, maybe there is a reason why you should talk about what you make. Now, listen to this. Even if your boss says don't, I know in our contracts it says you don't discuss your salaries.
Well, I don't
it's
know.
mainly a conversation in TV of what most on-air talent have. The main reason to discuss your paycheck total is to help make sure pay levels are fair and therefore employees stay around longer and trust the leadership more. Now, an expert says the best way to start this conversation is to say something along the lines of, I think it's important to know what we're worth, and I'm doing some research, Amber. If I tell you what I'm earning, will you tell me what you're earning?
It's like if
The
I show you
downside
mine, will
for
you show me
sharing that
yours?
number is people will start demanding to know why some people are paid more than others. Now, the reason why I brought this up was there's a lot of conversation about the part of the Me Too movement about women's salaries as part of that movement. Okay, I'm not saying that's what the movement's about.
That's been an issue since the beginning
Yes,
of time.
but it's been
forever.
highlighted a
Oh,
lot
absolutely.
more.
Well, people are paying attention now.
Yes. Do you feel it's a good idea to talk about someone's salary?
I do. I don't think that money should be that taboo. They talk about in this article that employers often will not threaten, but basically threaten their employees by saying, oh, don't tell let's not talk about that. Let's keep this undercover. And employees feel like that's a secrecy that their management or big boss is trying to keep from everybody else. And that just disrupts the entire culture of the building as a whole when you're supposed to be working as a team in most kind of situations. And they think that's because people are either overpaid or people are vastly underpaid. And the study says that's probably true.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know.
You
I
don't-
think if you're doing the same job as someone else, yes. But I think there are different aspects to people's roles. So we all know that people work at McDonald's or as a waiter or something like that, they're on a minimum wage, which most people would know what that would be in that state, correct?
Well, yeah.
So, but when you get to, I'm just using this as an example, when you get into TV or radio as an example, evening primetime news anchors would earn differently to morning primetime. It's common fact.
And it does talk about that.
Yeah.
But they still say that you should be able to discuss that openly because it's well known that some people have different duties or
And
different
different-
assignments
yeah.
or have been in the field a lot
Yeah.
longer, more experience. There's a lot of different variables.
Yeah.
But when somebody says, don't talk about that, it
And
makes
that's
you
what this
think,
is talking about.
yeah, what
is
are
it
we
a
hiding?
conversation we should be having? And if we do, would it create animosity? I actually think it could create a little bit of animosity.
I think it could in the beginning,
Yeah.
but that might be a good thing. It may have that underlying animosity that's always been there and nobody
Well-
could put a finger on it, and it brings up the discussion. I never think shaking things up is a bad thing.
Well, in Australia, we have levels of pay that you get awarded by the government. It's This is, if you're a first-year hairdresser, that's what you have to get paid.
And everybody knows.
Everyone
it's
gets
out in the
it.
open.
So whether you know, with all the staff that I had, even salon managers had to get paid a certain amount. Now, what you paid after that was your choice. You could never go under. So everyone knew, as a first year or second year or third year or fully qualified hairdresser, what your base pay was.
Did you feel that worked?
No one ever complained.
Yeah, I
because
kind of
I had
agree with that.
staff would come to me and say, I want a pay rise. I'd say, great, how much more money are you going to make for us? You do that, you got, how much do you need?
Based on your performance.
Yeah.
I actually think
and
that's
9
good.
times out of 10, they'd hit those goals and they'd be getting their pay rise.
Well, it gives you something to work towards, and everything's out in the open. It doesn't feel like you're starting 9 steps below somebody else.
Yeah.
And it does mention that in the article as well. Some companies do have that kind of a system where it's basically, you know what your base pay rate is. Everybody knows what the base pay rate is. And they say that that kind of situation is a little more
I think if there's shifty
conducive.
side deals happening, that's where the issue comes out. Tell us what you think. Head over to Midday Kentucky's Facebook page. Alrighty, if you love to look the party, you may be familiar with this phrase, but it turns out this can be a true statement. Just the style of your hair could leave an impression that could either boost or sabotage your career. Let's take it away, my friend.
All right, we're going to go right into it. Broadcast journalism is the perfect example, with about 98% of women having smooth hair. It's not natural. 2/3 have short or medium length, and about half were blonde.
Well, if you work for Fox, I think you're more of a brunette, aren't you?
No, I
It's
don't
more
know.
of a
I think
blonde?
they have a lot of blondes.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Number 2, hairstyles are like OT gender and racial stereotypes. In fact, a study says black women experience more anxiety around hair issues than white women. Okay.
Facial hair can communicate confidence or be completely inappropriate. This all depends on your industry and your age.
Yeah, you know, Dee, I'm looking at you right now, buddy. I don't know about facial hair, everyone.
D, you rock it.
Yeah, he does. Look, but I don't know. I think there is, I know in TV where sort of it's a bit of a taboo to have facial hair unless it's for the month of November.
Yeah, that's true.
But that does happen. What's the next one?
The workplace may accept certain hairstyles over others, and there seems to be a change with this because more and more people are going to work with their hair in its natural state.
Really?
Yeah, well, you're a hair person.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
A la naturel. Get
It
to
talks
the
about
salon.
how much you judge somebody in their work. You know, it talks about how.
I have to say I do.
Well, you definitely
Yeah.
do. I know you do. And I can tell you, being in the broadcast,
I
I've
have to
had
say
my
to you
hair.
this morning, when you were sitting down, I was looking at your hair.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
This is how much I
But
care.
I wasn't judging.
You were definitely judging. But
my mind.
everybody does. So it's not just
Yeah.
Troy. I've had my hair every length, from up here to down, well, probably not down to there on air, but every color, every length. The number one thing I get email-wise or calls about, usually women, are about my hair. They either like how it was that day, or they didn't like this, or they didn't like this. It's hilarious. I keep them all because I think they're funny. But that tells you, you could be saying anything up there on the TV, and if your hair is not to their liking, they're not listening.
Got you. Fascinating. I agree with you. People used to write in.
It goes both ways, Troy.
Someone wrote in Utah that I was trying to look like a Mormon with my hairstyle.
What is
I didn't know
that?
what that was.
Yeah, what's that
I was a
mean?
bit confused myself. Tell us what you think. Head over to Midday Kentucky Facebook's page. Hey, who doesn't want to live a wealthy life? There are several different ways to get money, but according to this brand new article, there is one skill that is connected to being wealthy: delaying instant gratification. A study through Temple University in Philadelphia found that people thought those who had the skills were wealthy. However, there hasn't been a scientific study to find the link between the two. By the way, you may recognize this video, which is a study that tested instant gratification with children. If they didn't eat the marshmallow they wanted, they would get to enjoy a second one.
I like
Do you
that we're
watch this
showing them
video?
about becoming wealthy. I've seen the study.
I don't know about delayed gratification.
No?
Yeah.
So you'd rather just have now, 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 now?
Why not?
Well,
Why can't we?
Yeah,
we
that's-
live in a world where everything is accessible.
Well, and how
right
long
now.
do you put it off? I mean, you could, I hate to get dire, but you could die tomorrow. Like, but you're putting it off, you're putting it off. Like, people that save their money for ages and ages and ages, and then they die and they don't use it.
Yeah.
How do that's
you don't need
sad.
to leave it to your kids, people. They can earn their own money. You enjoy the money that you earn. All right, everyone, we're going to toss it over.
Career advice.
No, it's true. You shouldn't have to expect an inheritance from your parents.
Oh, no, that's
Do you
true.
know what I mean?
I agree with
you
that.
earn your own money.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're going to toss it over to break, everyone. You're watching Midday Kentucky. See you in a moment.